just find a place where you feel grounded, settled in, and that you can bring your shoulders more or less over your hips. Okay, so that you find more of a lifted spine rather than kind of slumped down. And usually we kind of slump down, we close the front of the body. And what we want to do today is open it up a bit. So see if you can roll your shoulders, bring them up by your ears, and then release them down the back. Your hands resting on your thighs, and your palms could be up, down, or if you want to turn them up, you could do that. Fingers soft. And if it's helpful to close eyes, close eyes. And inviting softness around those eyes, softness in your jaw. And then a deeper breath in. And a longer breath out. And play with the rhythm of your breath. Maybe these first breaths are a bit slower, a bit deeper. Maybe there's a bit more effort as you breathe in, a bit more effort as you breathe out. But then eventually you want to try and find a rhythm of breath that is intentional, that is a breath that is aware, you're aware of it happening. But then something that is sustainable, that you can keep going and that it will benefit you at this moment. And you might even get curious about how long your attention can stay on your breath. Might be for one cycle, it might be able to stay there for a little longer. And as you notice that attention going other places, be gentle. Gently notice that, and then maybe bring it back to your breath. Let's take about 5 more cycles. And as you approach your 5th cycle of breath, see if your attention is still on it or other things came into mind. And again, being gentle, noticing that. And then with your next inhale, let's bring those hands to heart, resting those palms against one another and the thumbs at the chest. And then see if you can send your elbows out. So finding a bit more action through your arms, your shoulders. And maybe as you press those hands into one another and you send your elbows out, you can feel a bit more action through that upper back. Take a full breath in. And take a full breath out. Begin to engage through your lower belly and see if you can find more length and space in the lower back. Take another breath in, lengthen up through the top of your head. And then as you exhale, drop the chin to your chest. Can you keep pressing the palms against one another? Breathe in here, shoulder blades stay put, even maybe draw them down towards the back ribs. Breath out. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, soften those hands back to your thighs. As you inhale, bring the shoulders up by your ears, squeeze them in. And then on your exhale, just drop your right shoulder. Your spine stays lifted and it's just the shoulder lowering. Inhale, lift that right shoulder and then switch, left shoulder lowers. Inhale, lift, right shoulder lowers, exhale. And inhale, lift. And left shoulder will lower. Now as you inhale, both shoulders lift, we're squeezing them in. And on the exhale, we're releasing them down. Reach your arms wide, turn your palms up and lift them overhead. See here if you can keep your arms shoulder width. So your palms are not coming together, you're keeping them apart, but the palms are facing one another. And then as you inhale, bring the shoulders all the way up by your ears. And then on your exhale, with your arms lifted, see if you can lower your shoulders. There you go, nice job. And then again, inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And one more time, inhale, lift. And exhale, shoulders down. Take another breath in from here. And then on your exhale, right arm lowers by your side. And we're coming into a side stretch. So your left fingers go up and over. And see if you can stay here. Feel the left side get a little longer, a little bit more spacious. And maybe turn your gaze up, looking up towards the ceiling. Breath in. And breath out. Use your bottom arm to push the floor away. Take another inhale. And exhale. And then let's come back up through center. Inhale, both arms will lift. And then let's go to the other side. Left hand down by your side. And then reaching up and over with your right. As you do this, try not to round forward or arch back. And that will give you some space to turn the neck and maybe look up towards the ceiling. And again, think about space in that right side, from the waist, up the ribs, armpit. And breathe in. And breathe out. One more. Pressing the floor away with that bottom hand. And then as we inhale, let's come back through center, reaching your arms up. This time let your palms touch and then turn your palms to face away from you, interlacing those fingers. We're bending the elbows first and then find those elbows pushing away from one another. So some action again through that upper back. And then see if you can straighten those elbows a little bit more. Feel that stretch through the armpits, maybe the side ribs. As best you can, try not to arch back. Draw the belly towards your spine, the ribs towards one another. One more inhale. And then on your exhale, let's lower those hands behind us. Option here, you could plant them. If that's available, plant your fingertips. Or you could interlace those hands behind you. And then again, in both cases, find some space in your chest. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another. Feel the fronts of your shoulders open up. Breathe in. And then as you exhale, lower the chin to your chest. Breathe out. Another inhale. And another exhale, drawing belly to spine. Releasing those hands, reaching your arms overhead. Inhale. And now as you exhale, lowering your hands in front of you and then going for a forward fold. So try to walk your fingers forward first rather than rounding down. So think forward and then think down. And don't worry about how far you go, but think about lengthening spine. Sit bones away from crown of the head. Breath in and breath out. And then use this posture, this shape of the body to emphasize space in that lower back. So your sit bones stay grounded. And then inhale, spacious lower back, spacious mid back. Exhale, some softening. Allow yourself to get a little heavier towards the ground. Let's do one more like that. Breath in and breath out. And then use your inhale to walk those hands back towards you, lifting that spine. And then depending how you were seated, switch it around. So if you were doing a cross-legged or any version of a cross-legged, switch your legs around. And then find your grounding again, your sit bones. Remember about having something under those sit bones to give you a little lift. And then return hands to your thighs, and for a moment here, pause, lengthen through your spine. Notice any effects of the movements we just did in the body. Deep breath in and long breath out. And then with your next inhale, reaching those arms overhead. Again, see if you can keep them shoulder width, palms are facing one another. Bring those shoulders all the way up towards the ears and squeeze them. And then as you exhale, drop them down. Do that 2 more times. Lift. So little micro movements that are actually in the body quite big. They require quite a bit of effort. And then the next time that your shoulders are down, but your arms are lifted, lower on your exhale, left hand down by your side, and then reach up and over with your right. This time we're going to bend the top elbow, bring the hand to the back of your head. And then open up that elbow towards the ceiling. And with that, see if you can turn your gaze up too. And then as you exhale, drive that right elbow towards your left thigh. So it's coming forward and then going towards that left leg. And then let's open up again. Inhale, see if you can feel that stretch through the right side of the body. Exhale, right elbow towards left thigh. One more like that. Inhale, let's open. And exhale, let's find that fold. We're coming back through center on the inhale, lifting the arm, both arms through center. And then let's go to the other side, right hand down. Reach over first, so get that space in the left side. And then bend your top elbow, hand to the back of your head. Make sure you don't press on the head, so no stress on the neck. Inhale, open up. Exhale, left elbow towards your right thigh. And then again, let's open. See if you can feel a bit of a stretch in that lower back, left side of that lower back, elbow to thigh. One more like that. Inhale, let's open. And exhale. Find that fold, that slight twist. We're coming back through center on the inhale. Both arms are going to lift, lengthen, and then interlace those fingers. Find the awkward interlace. Turn the palms, and once again, give yourself a stretch here, pushing those palms away. And as you push through the palms, engage through your legs. Imagine your sit bones slightly lifting off the mat. One more breath. And then on your exhale, releasing those arms, lower them down by your side and take a moment here. We'll find some cows and cats. Okay, so as you breathe in, chest comes forward, gaze up. And then as you breathe out, round your spine. Okay, so allow your sacrum kind of to roll back and down as you do this. And then again, bring yourself forward, lift through the chest, the gaze. And then again, exhale and round. One more time. Inhale and lift. And exhale. Find that rounding. Draw belly to spine as you do that. And then let's find a neutral spine. Reach your arms overhead. And then on your exhale, we're going to come into a table pose. So your hands can come in front of you. If it's available to roll onto those knees, you could do that. If you need to do it any other way, feel free to. And we'll meet in a table pose, hands more or less under shoulders and knees more or less under hips. And let's find those cows and cats right here. So we're going to drop belly, bring chest forward, lift the gaze, finding some space in the throat. And on the exhale, rounding spine, tucking chin to chest, allowing the crown of the head to drop towards the ground. And a few more times, your own breath, your own exploration here. Remember, make it also about your hips, about that lower back. So as you inhale, your sit bones lift. And then as you exhale, your sit bones draw in towards one another. And that tailbone tucks between the legs. And again, inhale into cow. And exhale to round that spine. One more time. And as you round, think about pushing the floor away with your hands. So engage through those arms, press through those fingers. And then let's meet in a neutral spine, neutral table pose. And then with the next inhale, let's reach that left leg out behind us. And give it a good stretch here. So press or through the ball of the foot or through your heel, really lengthening out, drawing the belly towards the spine, finding really active left leg. And then as you exhale, just lower it down onto the mat. So ball of the foot is on the ground, and then walk your hands slightly forward. And we're coming into, again, cows and cats, but with that leg extended. So as you inhale, see if you can come forward a bit, bring your chest forward, and you come onto the tiptoes of that back foot. And then as you exhale, round your spine and really push through your hands as if you were trying to come into like a downward facing dog, but you're not. Okay? And then find this movement again. Inhale, come forward, chest forward. Feel your hips come forward too. You're on the tiptoes of that back foot. And then as you exhale, round your spine, push through your hands. Imagine hollow front body. And then let's do it again. Inhale, come forward. And exhale, push it back, push through those hands. And then come back through center and then lower that knee to the mat. Come back into your table pose, realign those hands, and then give your wrists a little break. So left hand is going to turn, palm is going to face up, and the fingers are going to point towards us. Give it just a slight little press down. And then flip it back and switch. Now it's your right hand that's going to turn, fingers towards you, palm facing up. It's that scooping action. And then see if you can press a bit through the top of your hand. Get that counter stretch for your wrist. And then return that hand back. And now turn your left fingers towards the left, your right fingers towards the right. And then left fingers turn towards you, right fingers turn towards you. And now pause here. And then send your sit bones slightly back. See if you can keep pressing through the thumb and through the base of your hand. Don't do it too much. Don't be too intense, but just sending your sit bones a little further back will give you that extra stretch. And you might feel it through the forearm, even inside of your elbow. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then let's return. Fingers going to be pointing forward. And we're going to go to that right side with the right leg. So inhale, right leg rises. And again, activate it. Imagine you were trying to push a heavy piece of furniture back. And as you do this, don't let your right hip go along with it and your hips get misaligned. Keep them aligned. You're really pressing, and try pressing through ball of the foot. Toes are drawing towards you. And press through the heel. Really active, strong right leg. Take another breath in. And then as you exhale, lower the ball of the foot to the ground. Okay, we're going to find that same forward and back movement that we did before. So it might be helpful to walk your hands slightly forward first. As you inhale, push forward, roll onto your tiptoes, bring your chest forward, lift your gaze, kind of a bit of a cow. And then as you exhale, go back onto the ball of the foot and then round your spine and push that back body up and back. Left knee still on the ground. And then let's do that again. Inhale, coming forward onto tiptoes, maybe even onto the top of that back foot. And then exhale back, push, and find a bit that kind of dome shape with your upper body. One more time. Inhale, coming forward, chest forward. And exhale, and back. Push through those arms. And then we're coming back through center, lowering that right knee to the ground, coming back into your table pose, and then lowering your sit bones to your heels to find a child's pose. And again, if your wrists need a little attention, here is a good place. In your child's pose, you could, again, fingers point towards you, that scooping action through your hands. Good counter pose for your wrists. You could also, if your chest is lifted, your elbows on the ground, you could interlace your fingers and then find a little rotation through your wrists. Okay, so a few options, and you don't have to do all the options, right? You choose, see what works for you, what you feel like today. Give it a try, and then maybe next time you try something else. Take another breath in wherever you are, and breath out. And then from here, planting your hands, coming through a table pose, tucking those toes, and let's find our way into downward facing dog. And this down dog today, a little shorter and the feet wide. So if you've got your mat, you could use your mat as reference and bring the feet to the outer edges of the mat. And if you're doing like a shorter down dog, make sure you bend your knees and see if you can get your heels all the way onto the mat. And let's take a full breath in. You're using your arms to push the floor away. Full breath out, draw belly to spine, send those sit bones a little higher. Another inhale and an exhale. One more breath in and breath out. And then from here, walk your hands towards your feet. So your feet stay back and wide, and your hands are walking towards your feet. And we'll meet in a forward fold, wide leg. You could hold opposite elbows here, allow the head to hang, and then bend into one knee as you kind of straighten the other one, and then shift to the other side. This will result in your hips moving from side to side. So do this a few times and allow the head to just drop heavy, torso heavy. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's find one more breath like this. And then let's find stillness at center. Bring your hands to your hips and then chin to chest, bend in the knees and make your way up to stand. One vertebra stacking over the other, and once you get to the top, roll those shoulders, squeeze them up by your ears, and then release them down the back. So you still got your feet wide. From here, reach your arms overhead as you breathe in, and then on your exhale, right arm towards your right leg, and then reach over with your left. And now here, make sure not to push your sit bones back or to arch the spine. So draw belly to spine and see if you can stay in the same plane as if you had a wall behind you and you're trying to keep the whole back body onto that wall. And then come back through center, inhale, and go to your other side as you exhale. Same idea here. A lot of times what happens is the top shoulder will go forward. So notice if that's the case, draw it slightly back. And if that means coming up a bit, do that. Come up slightly. Breath in and breath out. And then inhale, bring yourself back through center. And on your exhale, bring those hands behind you. And then we're going to interlace them behind the back. And then we're going to slide those knuckles towards the left side of the waist. So they're kind of peeking here on this left side. We'll take a breath in. And then on your exhale, left ear goes towards the left shoulder. And see if you can feel a stretch through the right side of your neck, going down that right shoulder. Full breath in and full breath out. And then bring that head back through center, knuckles down behind the back, and then we're going to slide them towards the right side of that lower back. See if you can bring them over to the waist. Okay, still hands strong together, and then lengthen up on the inhale, crown of the head reaches high. And then as you exhale, right ear towards right shoulder, and now the left side of the neck will receive the stretch, left side or left shoulder. Breath in And breath out, draw belly to spine. Remember, here it's very easy. I was doing it to arch, drop into the lower back, engage your glutes and push those hips forward, belly to spine. Gently bring the head back through center. Release your hands, reach those arms all the way up. And as you exhale, bend in your knees, forward fold. With your next inhale, now we're going to walk those hands all the way to the top of the mat. The feet are going to stay back, and we're going to end up in a wide leg plank pose. Okay, so take a moment here, full breath in, full breath out. See if you can find again that action through your arms, almost like hollowing the front body, expanding through that back body. Another breath in. And then as you exhale, lower your knees, bring those knees to hip width, coming into your table pose. Okay. We're going to open up that chest a little bit more. So knees are going to stay under hips, and then your hands are going to come wide, and we're going to walk them forward, away from us. And as we do this, the chest is going to begin to lower towards the ground, and then maybe your forearms lower to the ground too. Sometimes here we tend to kind of just drop and relax. Now I'm going to ask you to work a little bit. So rather than just passive dropping chest towards the ground, we're going to keep pressing through those hands. Okay? And imagine that you were trying to lift your elbows. If they're on the ground, you might even hover them. Press through your fingers, and if it's available, lift your palms. Your sit bones are reaching back. See if you can feel a bit more work through that upper back. And then imagine trying to draw your hands towards your knees. Okay, so there's that action of kind of bringing them together, but they're not moving. So again, really, really active stretch. Take another breath in. And then on your exhale, make it passive. That's going to feel nice. Take another inhale, relaxing arms, chest, head, breath out. And then walk your hands back towards you and come all the way into a child's pose. Okay, so you could keep your knees hip width, or you could slide your knees wide. And then bend your elbows and hold opposite elbows. If it's available, your head might rest on your forearms. And then take a breath in. And take a breath out. One more. And then with your next inhale, hands forward, coming back through your table pose and meeting back in downward facing dog. Lifting your sit bones, and then use your downward facing dog to find some softness in your neck. So look towards the right. And then bring the head back through center. Gently look towards your left. And head back through center. Do it again. Look to the right. And center. And look to the left. And center. Pause here. Full breath in. And long breath out. With your inhale, feet are going to walk towards the hands. And as you exhale, forward fold, interlacing the hands and bringing the hands to the back of the neck, and then allowing your elbows to be heavy and the heaviness of your head and your arms, finding some traction through the spine. Remember, bend knees here. Full breath in. Maybe an open mouth exhale. One more. And then releasing those hands. Maybe your hands hang this time, head hangs, and slowly one vertebra stacks over the other. And we'll make our way up to stand. Shoulders come up by your ears, squeeze them in, and then release them down the back as your palms turn forward. And take a moment, shift your feet forward, or shift your weight forward and back on the soles of the feet, onto your toes, and then back onto your heels. And then let's use the next inhale to reach those arms overhead. And on the exhale, that left foot is going to step back. We're coming into a warrior one stance. So we were talking about lower back at the beginning of class, right? And about stretching it. So warrior one is kind of not the opposite, but warrior one is not necessarily a stretchy one for the lower back. It's actually, depending on how we do it, we can actually compress the lower back. So I want you to be aware of that here and adapt so that you're not compressing that lower back. So you want to engage that left glute, but you want your spine or your tailbone to go straight down. So rather than arching like this, yeah, like kind of bum going out and then chest going up, this is just compressing lower back. See if you can draw that lower belly up and in, and imagine your tailbone going straight down. Okay, so see if you can find that little tweak in your warrior one. Okay. And we're going to inhale those arms overhead. And then on the exhale, the left elbow is going to bend, and we're going to drop the hand behind the head. Right hand is going to hold that left elbow, and it's going to draw the elbow in towards the head, and the head is going to push back into that elbow. Again, chances are that arch is happening. Keep drawing belly to spine. Think that the spine pushing back rather than going forward. Breath in and breath out. And then as you inhale, reach your arms all the way up. And on your exhale, bring both hands behind you, interlace them at your lower back, open up chest, think about length, and the opening is in the upper body. And then as you exhale, hinge at your hips and go forward and down. Reaching crown of the head away from that back foot and away from your hands. Breath in and breath out. See if you can use this pose to engage through that core, to find neutrality in your back body. One more breath. And then as you inhale, release those hands, reach your arms overhead. A little balance transition here. We're going to bring weight into that front foot. Bring your torso forward. Lighten up on that back foot. And maybe take a step halfway up the mat. And then all the way up the mat. Mountain pose, bringing hands to heart. Pause, breathe in. And breathe out. We're going to the other side. As you inhale, your arms will lift. And on your exhale, right foot is going to step back, your warrior one on this side. And again, same idea, okay? Draw belly to spine, engage through glutes, so you're not dropping your weight into that lower back. Okay? You want to support that lower back, and you want to lengthen up rather than back bend here. Strong legs, take a breath in, take a breath out. And then when you're ready, arms will lift on the inhale. And then that right elbow is going to bend. The hand is going to come behind the head. And then your left hand is going to draw that right elbow in. Okay, so see if you can feel a stretch through the triceps, to that right armpit. And here, once again, as you push the head back into the elbow, think about that back body pushing back, belly to spine. Breath in and breath out. So strong core here. Another inhale and another exhale. And then release that elbow, reach both arms towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, bringing hands behind you. Now once again, interlace, find the opposite one, and then open chest. So make this again about that upper body, not about that lower back. And then when you're ready, hinge through your hips, or left hip actually, and reach the crown of the head away from that back foot, away from your knuckles. As best you can, keep your hips in that warrior one position. So don't let your right hip open up to the side. Soft gaze and soft eyes, soft jaw, steady breath. Another inhale and another exhale. Nice job. And then release those hands, rising up, reaching those arms up, and then bring weight into that front foot. And again, let's do a middle step. And it's not so much that you put a lot of weight in that when that foot comes halfway, you just tap, right? So weight comes into the front leg, lighten up on the back, just step it halfway, pointing the toes, and then bring it all the way forward. Mountain pose, your hands rest at heart. Breath in and breath out. One more. With your inhale, those arms lift. And with your exhale, bend those knees forward, fold. Inhale to a halfway lift, finding that neutral back. And on your exhale, planting your hands, feet step back, downward facing dog. Allow the neck to relax here. Breathe in and breathe out. One more. And then let's lower those knees to the mat and let's come into a table pose. We're going to open up the backs of those shoulders. So with your next inhale, your right arm is going to open to the side. And then on your exhale, thread that arm, reach to your left. Do that again. Inhale, open. Exhale, thread. And inhale, open. And now on your exhale, thread. See if you can lower the shoulder onto a block or a blanket or all the way to the mat. The head also comes onto the mat and you're looking towards your left. Your knees and hips are still in line. And let's find a full breath in and a full breath out. You could use your left hand to give yourself a little press here. Press the floor away. And then you could send your hips a little further back. And sometimes just a little tweak, moving those hips slightly to one side or the other will give you a bit more of a stretch in the back body. Full breath in and full breath out. And then use your inhale to press into that left hand. Again, open up towards the right. Right hand all the way up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, float it forward. Bring it as far forward as you can. Plant your fingertips. And then come onto the forearm of that left arm. And then keep your only fingertips planted with that right arm. So your palm is lifted. Your forearm and elbow lifted. And then as you reach through your fingers, send your right sit bone slightly back. See if you can feel really good stretch through the right side. And I'm feeling especially like armpit area. Breath in and breath out. And then walk that right hand in. Stay on your forearms for a moment here. Okay, so you've got both forearms planted, palms are planted, and then your hips and your knees are still in line. And then press through your arms, your forearms here. See if you can feel a bit more space, a bit more of a broad upper back. You could perfectly fine stay here, or if you want to explore a little further, tuck your toes and then lift your knees. You could stay with the knees hovering, work it here, or you could explore straightening those legs or working towards straightening the legs. So you're coming into like a dolphin pose, not like, I mean dolphin pose. And in dolphin pose, what you want to try and do is to get your chest to move towards your thighs. Okay? It's quite a challenging pose. Okay, so just give it a moment. See how it feels. The head should be able to hang between your arms, and you might be able to look at your toes. And then if you've got this dolphin pose going, lower down, lower back onto your knees. And we'll have a chance to do it again. So give yourself a moment. Come back into your table pose. Maybe a cow and a cat. Inhale. And exhale, rounding spine, pushing that back body towards the ceiling. Return to a neutral spine. And let's get that thread shoulder stretch going on the left side. So inhale, left arm out and up. Exhale, thread towards your right. Send your gaze towards the right too. And again, inhale, open. Exhale, thread. And inhale, open. And now as you exhale, thread. And this one will lower that shoulder. We'll lower the head. We're looking towards the right. Your left palm is facing up. So that's kind of the position of your arm. And then find these little tweaks. Yes. What happens if you press a bit more through your right hand? What happens if you send your hips from side to side? Is there a position in which that stretch is a bit more obvious, or that sensation? And make sure that you're using your breath to do this exploration. Make sure that you inhale, expand areas that need a little space. And make sure that you exhale and soften areas that could do with some softening. One more breath in. And breath out. And then we're going to unwind, rising up again, open up towards that left side. And then on the exhale, swim that arm all the way forward, as far forward as you can reach. Plant your fingertips and then see if you can come onto your right forearm. And then reach through those left fingertips, palm lifted, forearm lifted, sit bones are going back. See if you can feel that extra stretch through that left side. Breath in. And breath out. One more. And now bringing that left hand back. Coming back onto now both forearms, just like we did before. Here you could choose for this dolphin pose. See how it works. It kind of depends on the person. But we did it before with the palms facing down, the forearms straight out in front of us. You could try it now with an interlace through the fingers. So making kind of a triangle shape with your forearms. And if you are interlacing the fingers, it's nice to just keep your pinkies not interlaced, so one in front of the other, so they don't get kind of weight and squished down. Okay. So if you are doing that shape, take a moment to press through those forearms. Make sure your elbows are more or less under your shoulders. Don't let them be too wide. And then perfectly fine, work this here, pressing down, see if you can feel a bit more of a broad upper back. If you want to go a little further, tuck your toes and then hover your knees. Keep pressing through those forearms. And maybe from here you work on straightening those legs And by straightening the legs, I mean more is what I mean is that you're lifting your hips, because it doesn't matter if your legs are straight. So a bend in the knees is perfectly good here. And then think about sending your sit bones up and then your chest towards your thighs. So once again, you're in that dolphin pose. Your gaze towards your toes, head hangs, your head is not on the mat. Breathe in and breathe out. Nice job. Let's take one more inhale. Push through those forearms, find a bit more lift through your sit bones. And then on your exhale, lower your knees. We're coming all the way into a child's pose. So we're going to try and rest those shoulders after this work. Okay, so in your child's pose, if you're doing like a close knee child's pose or hip width, something like that, you might be able to bring those arms by your side and then really allow the fronts of the shoulders to drop towards the ground. Palms are facing up. And now after that work, your shoulders are just soft, relaxed towards the ground. Let's find a breath in and a breath out. And a couple more like that right here. And then from your child's pose, slowly lifting that spine. And then see if you can come to stand on your knees for a moment. And then see if you can shift both feet to one side. And then once you've got your kind of shins in a diagonal, bring your arms in front of you. Imagine that you were being pulled forward or kind of slowly let down through those arms. And see if you can send your sit bones straight back behind you. And you might be able to lower them all the way onto your mat. And then bring those legs in front of you. So once you are here, let's bring those feet wide. We're going to again find a little bit more stretch for lower back. So feet and knees are going to be wide. If you've got your block, you could have your block between your feet. And then we're going to inhale to lengthen up. And then on the exhale, we're going to go forward. Think forward first. You come in between your legs. You're trying to reach. And then once you can't reach any further, that's when you lower your hands. So again, they might lower onto a block, something a little higher, might allow you to go a little further forward. Okay? So first, what we're trying to do first is to get some length and space, and then we're going to fold and round. And you could let your head go heavy. And begin to just let the breath be a bit more like a normal breath. So not too much effort. And maybe even emphasizing exhales a little bit more. So we're getting to time in practice in which is more about release. So exhales are usually more about that, about letting go. You're letting the air go out of the body, and maybe with that air you also let some tension go. Maybe other things that right now you don't need, and you can trust that you can pick them up later if you really need them. Let's take one more breath in and breath out. Now keeping your feet planted, begin to work those hands back towards you, finding that lifted spine. And then bring the hands behind you, or actually outer hips slightly behind you. Take an inhale. And then on your exhale, lower your knees to the left. And then bring your right hand over to the left side and find a bit of a rotation looking behind you. Don't take it too far, not too strenuous, just a bit of a twist. And then return that hand back. Lift those knees, coming back through center, and then taking the knees towards the right, and then bringing that left hand over, and then finding that little bit of a twist, turning that spine. Breath in and breath out. And then use the inhale to come back through center, those knees come back up. And then on your exhale, pause here, bring those knees hip width, those feet hip width, and we're coming all the way down onto the mat. So you could bring those arms in front of you, take a full breath in. And then on your exhale, lowering down. See if you can do it with control, one vertebra or one area, section of the spine at a time. And the last would be the head. And then once the head is on the ground, those knees might come into the chest. You could rock a bit from side to side, give the lower back a bit of a massage, the back of your hips. And then we'll go into a happy baby, broadening those knees towards the armpits. And you could stay here with your hands around your shins or behind your knees. Just let your feet be floppy, heavy. And concentrate more on neutral spine, pressing that sacrum down and then pressing the lower back down, spreading the back ribs out, and then finding a broad upper back. And finally, lengthening the back of the neck, chin slightly towards your chest. Take an inhale and take an exhale. One more. And then releasing that happy baby and finding a comfortable position, finding a place where you can be in stillness for last moments of your practice. And that could be lying down, it could be on your side, it could be sitting. Just take a moment to set yourself up. If you need extra clothing, have that available. And then once you've arrived, take a breath in. And take a sounding, mouth open exhale. And really feel the effects of that exhale, that release, letting the body get heavy, getting a bit closer to the ground. And even if it's just for a short time, can you really be here? Can you really let yourself just be? And again, trust that you'll be able to pick up later. And that maybe you'll be a bit more efficient at what you pick up and how. If you let yourself right now soften and let go. And then just notice thinking or thoughts happening. And then return your attention to your next breath. And then as you find that breath, invite some gentle movement back into your body, moving in any way that feels right for you at this moment. And if you were on your back, you could roll onto one side and take a pause there. Maybe a breath in, a breath out. And then coming up, we'll meet in a comfortable seat. As always, if you want to stay for a little longer, lying in your Shavasana or in stillness, you could do that. But if you're coming up, let's meet with hands resting at heart and just taking a moment to acknowledge the position here, acknowledge the practice, acknowledge that we practice today. Acknowledge those who practice with us, and not only today, but all those other times. And then acknowledging all those that in one way or another make it possible. And as always, as a way of acknowledging our connection, we'll end practice with a word that means that the light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.